Welcome back to Mass Appeal. As Jeff Laundreville can attest to, parenting is not always a picnic, especially when your kids are acting out. So we have Jeff Laundreville. He's a parenting expert, and he's the author of The Filter. We're going to talk about dealing with the challenging behavior of our children. But first, I think we'd be remiss without talking about the school shooting that happened in Washington last Friday. How do you even begin to talk to kids who have to go to school every day about a shooting that happened with a peer in school?
Right. I mean, it's extremely sad, and it's out there, though, and so we can't ignore it. And our kids are going to be around discussions in school, discussions that happen on the playground. You kind of want to beat them to the punch, and so they hear the truth. Because, of course, with kids, anything could be exaggerated, anything could be lied about. You don't want it to become that. So I think it's really important to kind of say, you know, this happened. It's a tragedy. You know, you're safe in your school. Make sure they know they're safe. Secure their thoughts that safety is on the way.
Secure thoughts, great tip.
So that's huge. But also talk to them about emotions, because if you think about it, and we'll get into this in a minute, everything comes from an emotion. Everything comes from a thought. Even if it's a bad thought, even if it's a bad emotion. And I think many times kids later on kind of get into, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Oh, why did that happen? Because emotion goes, and then the thought catches up, and they go, oh my God, what did I do? So you don't want it to be such a horrific situation such as last week and such as many school shootings where you don't even get that chance to think about it. You don't even get that chance to talk about it because it's over that sudden. So you want to talk about emotion as well and make sure you're always sharing your emotions and connecting.
Jeff, as a parent, where do you come down on the line of media? When something like this happens, how much television should you let your child watch that's talking about these events, or should you try to shield them entirely from it?
Great point. I think you should shield them from the media of that. And the best way to do that possibly is to understand that we live in a culture now where there's so much glamour to being famous. There's so much glamour to being on TV and everything that's going on. So they can't always tell the difference that this is a negative way of being on TV. If you're on TV, you're famous. Period. And they don't understand there's reasons that you should not be on TV. There's reasons why your name should not be known worldwide, such as, you know, these awful shootings. So you really want them to understand this is a negative way that brings negative, you know, behavior, negative thoughts, negative reactions. This is not a glamorous, famous way, and that is difficult for parents because we live in a society again that people think fame is all it's all about. Fortune, all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure they understand, and that's the real thing. Making your kid understand, but connecting with them is huge, to have some thoughts and some dialogue.
That's a really good point, too, because every second that you're letting your child watch something about a peer who's being talked about on national TV, you're glamorizing that person,
right.
And we don't want to do that.
Right, and they don't understand the whole point. What they see is the face on the camera, what they see is the name there, what they see is people talking about it, period. They don't really always see the underlining how awful it is, what a tragedy it is, and just really how horrific the whole situation is. What they come away with was, I've seen that person, I want to be famous, everyone wants to be famous lately, they're famous, and then that's it. And the real meat of the situation, they don't really get or actual fathom that it's such a horrific situation.
Now, Jeff, let's transition to the topic at hand. It's dealing with challenging kids, because I can imagine as a parent, you've had that moment where you want to pull your hair out. And you don't know how to respond, you know, no matter what vein it's in. So we have some tips, and it's that every person communicates through their behavior. So we can't just talk to our kids. We have to see what they're doing and pick it up.
Exactly. And these are tips, because I'm sure there's a lot of parents going out there, I wish I could figure this out. And it's tips. So try these different things. I'm not saying it's not frustrating dealing with your children, because, you know, they're going through different ways of growing. So they're trying to figure out how to communicate with you and the world. So if you really think about that, you're a part of their learning of what communication is all about. So you want to teach them that communication through the certain kind of emotion is the right way to connect, because they'll get the right results.
And they're doing it sometimes for the first time, so they don't know how to communicate their feelings sometimes when they're charting these new territories.
Yeah, it's a trial by error kind of situation. You know, they're kind of going through life going, okay, does that work? Does this not work? And many times, again, like we said before, the emotions come out, and then they say, oh my God, I didn't even mean to say that. I didn't mean to do that. And we do that even as adults, but especially as kids, because we're learning how to communicate with the world. And then you don't want them to become frustrated with the way they communicated wasn't proper. So you want to kind of take them through that and understand that there's always a way to communicate to get what you want in the right way.
Jeff, one more point to talk about for now. There's always a reason. Sometimes people don't think so, but there's always a reason for childhood behavior. So we need to figure out what it is in order to help it going forward.
Right. There always is a reason, is a key point, because we don't always know the reason, but there is always a reason. And I believe that's all through our lives. I believe when we go through things, no matter who we are, no matter what our age, when we go through things, there's a reason why we went through it. We may not find out that week, we may not find out 5 years from now, but there is a reason that we're gonna hopefully come to terms of finding out. Now with something like that, in difficult behavior with a teenager, there's a reason, there's a place where it's coming from. So you wanna give support to your child of, you can talk to me about this, I'm not gonna, back you in a corner, I'm not gonna accuse you of things, I want you to connect with me so I understand, and then you dig away the layers to find out what the reason is, because sometimes it's under many different layers.
And sometimes a parent can't figure it out. Sometimes a mental health professional needs to stop in and really help too. Well, Jeff, you're gonna help us with some more tips a little bit later in the show, because this is a topic we could talk forever about.
Absolutely.
So it's so important, so don't go anywhere, because later in the show we have even more tips for you. Welcome back to Mass Appeal. We're back with parenting expert Jeff Laundreville. We're talking about challenging behavior, and it's loosely based off of the terrible, horrific shooting that happened at the end of last week in Washington. But we're talking about how there's always a reason for children's behavior, and sometimes it's multiple reasons. So it's you have to really dig and find what it is.
Right, and it's never easy being a parent, and it's much harder being a parent even these days. So you want to try to take the time to really understand what's actually going on there, and you don't just react to it. That's very difficult to do because it's very frustrating, and you do react to it because we're human beings. But you try to take the time to understand that there's a reason for everything. If you can kind of say that to yourself as a parent, it'll help you understand it better, so you're not just reacting. And so say your child does something, whatever it does, wherever around the house or whatever it is, okay? You go, there's gotta be a reason for that. And to yourself. And then it'll help you process it and then understand. You wanna get into more dialogue of, why do you think that happens? Or why do you think you do that? And you might get you might get a quick answer, but you also don't stop on it, and don't press, but don't stop. Go, okay, well maybe we can chat about it later, because I just wanna make sure you're feeling good about it. Okay. And it leaves them with a good thought. It leaves you not snapping right away at them. So you want to kind of give it okay, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. And if you say that to yourself as a parent, even if they're babies, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. They're crying for a reason, and whatever it is. And if you say that yourself, you'll actually take those 5 seconds to then say, whew, it's that deep breath.
See, I think I need that emotional equipment. I think I need that tool in my tool belt, because if you think about it, as a parent, if it were me, and my kid was acting out, I would want to defer to a mental health professional, because they have the tools to recognize problems. But for little old parents like myself, eventually, like Ashley, like anybody, how do we give ourselves those teaching tools? How do we know how to identify problems?
And you want to know your child, and that sounds like, of course I know my child. No, you really want to know your child, how they act, how they think, and connection's huge. When you connect with your child, again, even if they're a week old, okay, this isn't normal, this is how they usually act. And then ask, don't go to WebMD, it'll make you go crazy.
It'll terrify you.
But ask people, ask the experts to make you feel better, and then make you have the tools to then react better. So I think it's always important to ask, especially professionals, especially people that deal with this all the time. And you want to give them the big picture, this is what's going on, am I overreacting, what should I look for, that kind of stuff. So the only way to know something you don't know is to ask.
That's true, and the more you know about your child, you're right, the better. And it sounds silly, but I guess to be a good parent, you have to practice being a good parent and being a perspective parent.
Definitely. And in the meantime, you want to work on yourself as a parent, as a human being, because you want to be ready for those situations. You want to be ready for that stuff, because things are going to frustrate you. And if you're an impatient person, it's going to act out, and then you're going to add pretty much more fuel to the fire, and that's not good. So you also, in turn, want to work on yourself to be a better person. That way you're a better parent.
Let's talk about offering support instead of offering punishment. It's so important that we try to find that happy medium. How do we do it, though?
Right. We live in a world now that this is very confusing to people, and they say, well, of course I'm going to consequence my kid. Of course they did something wrong, I'm going to punish them. I understand that, but understand the big picture. Punishment is short term. It is temporary. So a consequence, yes, is important for them to know you shouldn't do this. This is wrong. You don't get the right results when you do this action or say these things. But you also want the lesson to be learned so you can change the behavior. You want to reconnect the wiring in their head to think this is the right way to go. You want to actually teach them, not just consequence them. Teach them how the world works so they can work with the world. So there's always a process you go through, because that behavior is probably going to come up again. The odds are very very good, whether it's in school, whether it's at home, whether it's any situation. So you want to teach them how to react differently. So you want to take the time to actually go through, okay, what happened here? What was the result here? That result wasn't very good. How could we have done it differently? Get into that, so you're trying to rewire their brain of this isn't the way to go. Because if you do that when they're younger, it'll benefit them much more when they're older.
And it's worth it. And that's the tough stuff. Punishment seems easy. You know, go to your room, come out, you don't get dinner. But talking about it, it might be the tough stuff, but ultimately it's the most rewarding stuff.
Definitely. And you know what's interesting? People say, well, I'm going to put them in timeout because they did the wrong thing, or go to their room. And people say, think of what you've done. I don't think that's the right thing to say. Think of what you've done that was wrong, so I'm going to do the wrong thing again. So you want to give them stuff to work on, homework, while they're in timeout. It sounds kind of strange, but it's true. How could you have done that differently is a great thing to say. How could you have done that differently to get different results, to make you feel better, to make you happy, and make it on them and actually find out ways. Not, can I think about the bad behavior? So they're just thinking about it over and over again. You're going to reinforce bad behavior.
Jeff, thank you so much. We can all be better parents.
Thank
one
you.
step at a time. And next on Mass Appeal.